Yo, what is good, everyone, and welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and I'm here to break down the Monday Night Football game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Going to talk a couple of prize picks that I like for this Monday Night Showdown. Also want to talk about a promotion that the Mayo Media Network is running for prize picks. Dive into that in just a minute. And then we're going to hop into my spreadsheet, breaking down the DraftKings Showdown. But before we do all of that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Mayo Media Network has football content coming out Monday through Sunday all season long, and you don't want to miss out on any of that. And for you podcast people, you can always head on over to the Apple Pods as well, find the content there, and leave a 5-star review while you're at it. But all right, everyone, let's go ahead, kicking things off here with a couple of prize picks and talking about that promotion as well. So over on the PrizePicks.com website here now, for those of you who have not signed up for PrizePicks yet and you want to do so, normally we use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit. And that's still in play. You can use that Monday through Sunday. However, PrizePicks has teamed up with the Mayo Media Network for this Monday night game only. So you have to play this Monday night game and use code MMN NFL. So you still get that $100 match deposit, but on top of that, if Dak Prescott completes one pass, just one pass in this game, you get a $25 bonus as well. So again, you can always use code MMN Monday through Sunday, but if you want to play this Monday night slate game or sign up here, you should just play this Monday night game anyway, because you're getting up to a $100 match deposit and a free $25 as soon as Dak completes one single pass in that game. So don't pass up on that. Again, code MMN NFL upon sign up. Now I got a couple of prize picks for this game here as well. I don't know if they're going to be as sweet as that free money that PrizePicks is giving away with that code, but I'm going to certainly try and help you win a little bit more money as well. So the first one that I got here is going to be a rushing prop. Scroll all the way down to the bottom here. I'm going to take the over on Dak Prescott at 10.5 rushing yards. Now, he didn't have any single rushing attempts last week. That is the major cause for concern here, but realistically, he can make this happen on one single play. You know, I date back to last year, 2020. In his first 4 healthy games, he smashed this rushing prop in all 4 of those games. And he actually hit the over back in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he had 4 rushing attempts, 13 rushing yards. So he still got it in him, no doubt about it. I'm sure the front office and the coaches are saying, Dak, don't run if you don't need to, but he certainly has the capability to do that. This is a guy who was averaging about 17 to 20 rushing yards per game in seasons past. So again, seemed a bit too low of a number here. He can realistically hit this in one single play, and I think he does that here on Monday night. And the other prize pick prop that I like here for this Monday night game is going to be a reception prop, so let's hop on over to that. I'm going to take Devontae Smith here over 4 receptions in this game. He's seen at least 7 targets in each of the first 2 games. He's had 7 and 8 to be exact, so he's averaging 7.5 through 2 games. I know it's a 2-game sample size here, but he's the number 1 pass catcher, it looks to be, in this Eagles offense. Certainly the number 1 target for Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm not overly convinced, though, that this Cowboys secondary is very good. They were abysmal last year, and I know that Trayvon Diggs has played better throughout the first 2 games of his sophomore season, but I'm just not convinced that they're very good. So, assuming Devontae Smith sees 7+ targets again in this game, I think he hits the over here. I think he can beat this Cowboys secondary. And again, you want to get your best players involved, especially in a divisional game like this. Devontae Smith looks to be the best wide receiver and pass catcher in this offense throughout the first 2 weeks. So I'm going to take the over here, along with the over on Dak Prescott. Again, we can approach this 2 different ways, the flex play or the power play. If you go the power play route, you will need both your picks to hit, but it does increase the payout. Now again, you can always use code MMN upon sign up for up to a $100 match deposit, but don't miss out on the bonus for this Monday night slate. Again, you're just going to use the code MMN NFL upon sign up. You still get that $100 match deposit plus that $25 bonus as soon as Dak Prescott completes 1 pass in this game. So take advantage of that, folks. And now it's time to dive into this spreadsheet here, breaking down the showdown slate for DraftKings. All right, so diving into this spreadsheet here. First thing, as always, going to list out those Vegas odds in the top left-hand corner. You can see the Dallas Cowboys are sitting at minus 180 on the money line at home, with the Eagles coming in at plus 155 and an over-under there of 51.5. I then got those showdown stats listed behind me as well, but considering my fat head stands in the way the entire time during this video, I'm going to hop on over to this page here and quickly go through these. I'll leave them on the main page as well, but wanted to give you a little more clarity with these. If you want to take a screenshot of these, save them, whatever you want to do, just wanted to run through these with a little more clear look. With that being said, we got 6 of them, right? Number 1, 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least one quarterback, and of the 1% lineups last year, the top 1%, 96% rostered a quarterback. Number 2, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain. Of the top 1% lineups, 31.4% did that as well. Number 3 there, 57% of the top 1% lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win, so the Dallas Cowboys in this example here. Number 4, run it back. An opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of the winning lineups that rostered a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team at captain. Number 5 there, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. Very rarely does that work. Only 1.1% of the top lineups in 2020. And number 6, don't play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. Usually one is fine. So with that being said, gonna hop back over here to my favorite plays, kicking things off with the captains. Now, for those of you who are new to these spreadsheet videos here, what I do is I always list out a captain from both sides of this game. This is one of those showdown slates where it might make sense to mix it up a little bit. You know, we had the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans on Thursday night. Brandon Cooks was kind of the only viable play at captain from the Houston side. That's not the case here for the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys. I think there are a few different ways that we could approach this, but these are my 2 favorite captains here. On the Eagles side, I like Jalen Hurts. With his rushing upside, he offers a very safe floor and the best ceiling that we've seen of any Eagles players throughout the first 2 weeks as well. He had 28 DraftKings points back in week 1, and then you can see his rushing stats there through 2 weeks. 17 rushing attempts, 144 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown as well. And this is a guy who really has the ability to score a rushing touchdown any given week, maybe even 2. Now, his passing game didn't look great last week, but looked much better in week 1 compared to his rookie season. Had, I believe, 264 passing yards in that game, 3 passing touchdowns. And again, I'm not sold on this Dallas defense, especially that secondary. You know, Micah Parsons has looked very good for them, but DeMarcus Lawrence, their best pass rusher, broke his foot in practice just 2 weeks ago, and he's not going to play here. So I think Jalen will have time, but either way, I like him because he has that safe floor, has shown the highest ceiling of any Eagles player through 2 weeks due to his rushing upside, and looking a little bit better throwing the ball as well. And then on the Cowboys side there, I'm going to roll with CeeDee Lamb, but Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, Zeke, realistically, you could probably put any one of those guys in the captain spot. I like CeeDee though here. I think he's going to win those battles against the cornerbacks, and I think that Darius Slay will likely play on Amari Cooper, even though he is battling that cracked rib. I'll kind of touch on that when I go through Amari there, but realistically, any one of those top 4 guys in Dallas could be the number 1 guy when all is said and done on Monday night. I just prefer CeeDee here. You can see through 2 games there, 24 targets, 185 receiving yards, 1 touchdown through 2 games, 17.4 and 26.4 DraftKings points. Now, obviously, Amari balled out in week 1, had 40 plus DraftKings points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but last week wasn't all that good. Like I said, he did get hurt in that game with a cracked rib, but CeeDee's been very consistent here. The targets are going to be there, and I definitely think he can win that matchup against this Eagles secondary. Now, moving on down here to the flex plays, first guy I got there is Dak Prescott. Again, you could put him in the captain spot if you wanted to. A number of different ways that you could kind of stack this lineup around Dak: CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, or even someone like Tony Pollard, who I don't have listed here. He balled out last week, and I think that's part of the reason that I have faded him on this spreadsheet, is because I think a lot of people are going to resort to that going, wow, this guy's better than Ezekiel Elliott. I've actually seen a lot of people talk about that throughout the DFS community. I'm not going to get into that conversation here, but I think the ownership on Tony Pollard this week is probably going to be way more than it should be. I'm not saying he's a bad play. I think he is viable. I'll probably just fade that, though, due to the increased ownership based off of his week 2 performance. But you could definitely stack him up with Dak as well. So Dak, a number of different players that you can mix and match him with. He was great in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Bucks, putting up 31 DraftKings points, and then he kind of disappointed last week against the Chargers, only putting up 8 DraftKings points. So there's a little bit of cause for concern there, but back at home where this offense just plays much better in general, I think he does get back on track, and I like him as a flex play or in the captain spot. We then got Amari Cooper there. It's too bad he is battling that cracked rib injury because he's dominated the Eagles at home over the past 3 games. I'll touch on those numbers here in just a second, but he did practice in full on Friday and Saturday, so that's very encouraging. He actually came out in an interview and said, look, I've kind of battled injuries throughout my career, but I'm out to prove that I'm one of the best wide receivers in the game, and in order to do that, I need to stay healthy. So good to see him being a gamer against a divisional opponent who he's just absolutely dominated at home over the past 3 games. Look at these numbers here. 4 receptions, 121 receiving yards, no touchdowns there, but still a really good game. 5 receptions, 106 receiving yards, no touchdowns there either, but still a pretty damn good game. And then this one here, 10 receptions, 217 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just absolutely dominating this Eagles secondary. So 3 straight games, topping 100 receiving yards. If he can stay healthy throughout this entire game, which I suspect he's going to try and battle it out, there's no reason to think that he can't go over 100 receiving yards once again. Now, I kind of just touched on Tony Pollard there, the second running back on the depth chart for the Dallas Cowboys. He's still going to be involved in this game, but he's actually only played around 28% of the snaps compared to that of Ezekiel Elliott, who a lot of people are just off of this year. Now, I'll admit, he has looked a little bit slower at times, but not enough to where I'm going to fade this guy as the number 1 running back in a pretty good matchup here against the Eagles at home. Now, I know this Eagles defense is kind of impressed on their side compared to what we thought they would be, but again, they're by no means elite, and Zeke at $8,400 here, it's not crazy to think he goes for 20 plus DraftKings points in this game, and this Cowboys offensive line actually has a 54% run advantage against that Philly D-line here as well per PFF. And so I'm looking at that going, you know what? If people want to play Tony Pollard after his performance in week 2, which he did top 100 rushing yards on 13 attempts, and he gets involved in the passing game as well. But if people are going to fade Zeke or have lower ownership on him, well, great, then, because I want him even more. I think he gets double-digit DraftKings points in this game here and has the potential to go over 20 plus. I also like the Eagles starting running back in this matchup as well, Miles Sanders. I don't love that he's only played 66% of the snaps throughout the first 2 weeks. That's really been the cause for concern for him since he's entered the NFL, not getting a full workload as a number 1 running back. And you can see I have Kenneth Gainwell listed there too. I do think he's a good kind of pivot play, getting 34% of those snaps. He's clearly the number 2 running back in that offense. But Miles Sanders here at $8,000. Look, this Eagles offensive line here has a 49% run advantage against that Dallas defensive line as well. Like I said, no DeMarcus Lawrence, and that defense in general just hasn't impressed over the past few seasons. So he might only get anywhere from 13 to 16 rushing attempts in this game. Does get involved a little bit in the passing game, but he is very explosive at times too, and not crazy to think that he could go for a long run in this game, even score a long touchdown. So I like both the number 1 running backs. People want to fade them. Give me even more of it. I'm not entirely sure you'll see that with Miles Sanders, more so Ezekiel Elliott, but I do think both of these guys are very viable on Monday night. And then I got one of my prize pick players here for Monday night, Devontae Smith. If you skipped over the prize pick section, make sure you go check it out because the Mayo Media Network is running an awesome bonus this week, and I got Devontae Smith over 4 receptions in this game, but you can see there, had 7 and 8 targets throughout the first 2 games, essentially averaging 7.5 targets through 2 games. I know it's a small sample size, but that's the numbers we got to work with right now for a rookie. Leading all pass catchers in targets from Jalen Hurts. That is something you can't make up. So the number 1 pass catcher through 2 weeks, and he's second on the team in 3 red zone targets. He did score a touchdown back in week 1. I really love this number here too, a $7,200, and he might see Trayvon Diggs in this matchup here, and Trayvon Diggs has been better in year 2, but still a matchup that I think he can win at times. It'd be kind of cool
cool too. Both those guys coming out of Alabama. I'm sure they practice against one another several times throughout their college career, so I'd like to see that. But I think Devontae Smith probably knows his weaknesses as well and will be able to take advantage of that in this game. And then the guy who is leading the Eagles team in red zone targets is Dallas Goedert. This would have been a much better play if Zach Ertz wasn't playing, but he did get cleared from COVID just this morning, I believe, so kind of a bummer there. Dallas Goedert would have been a smash play at this price tag had Ertz not played, but look, still leading the team here with 5 red zone targets. He's got 4 completions there as well and has scored a touchdown, and PFF has him lined up right now against Jalen Smith, the linebacker for the Cowboys, in this matchup. That is a matchup that Dallas Goedert is going to win more times than not. Jalen Smith was great in college, but that speed has not translated to the NFL. And Dallas Goedert is by no means a speedster, but I think he'll be good enough and fast enough to win this matchup against Jalen Smith. Next here is Kenneth Gainwell, the number 2 running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kind of name dropped him earlier, and he does kind of play a similar role to Tony Pollard. Again, I don't mind Tony Pollard. The dude absolutely balled out in week 2. He looked really good if you watched that game, and if you didn't, let me tell you, he looked fantastic. So I'm not opposed to playing Tony Pollard. I just don't love that there's probably going to be a lot of ownership on a guy who's a number 2 running back, whereas Kenneth Gainwell here probably isn't going to have all that much ownership in this showdown slate. And if you are playing big GPP tournaments, right, you definitely want to be trying to get a little bit contrarian. I mean, you look at the top of the milli maker in each one of these showdowns, and you're seeing duplicated lineups everywhere. So it is inevitable in these showdowns, but I just think Tony Pollard's going to carry too much ownership for me to play him in massive GPPs. If you play cash showdowns, well, that might be a good play depending on how much salary you got left. But yeah, I just don't know if I'll go there in GPPs myself. With that being said, I don't think Kenneth Gainwell here is going to carry all that much ownership as the number 2 running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he has played 34% of the snaps through 2 weeks, combining for 15 rushing attempts, 6 targets, and 1 touchdown. And I really like the numbers he's kind of put up here. They're not stellar by any means, but 12.3 and 7.2, certainly not bad for a guy priced at $5,000. Next guy we got here then is Dalton Schultz, the Dallas Cowboys tight end. You know, Blake Jarwin is there as well, and he's going to play in this game. I just tend to lean toward Schultz. They actually had about the same amount of snaps back in week 1, and then Schultz kind of took over last week, played 45 of the snaps to Jarwin's 29. But if you want to pivot down, Jarwin is much cheaper at $3K. So if you're looking to save money, you could go that route. But if you have the money, I would prefer Schultz here. Again, it's maybe a coin flip from time to time, but I looked at the snap count and said, okay, well, this guy's on the field more, running more routes. I want to take that guy in my lineup. But yeah, he is $1,800 more expensive. So just kind of a lower priced option if you need it. A guy who is going to be involved in the passing game and should carry low ownership in this matchup. And then we're going to wrap it up there with Greg the Leg Zuerlein, the Dallas Cowboys kicker. Now, he was shaky in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, albeit coming off that back surgery. I'm sure there were a few jitters that he wanted to get out. He got him out. Let me tell you, he missed 2 field goals in that game and an extra point. They probably go on to win that game if he doesn't do that, but still finished with 12 DraftKings points. And last week he didn't miss, had 10 DraftKings points, and hit a field goal from 50 yards out. Looked more like himself in that game. So back at home here, playing indoors, I don't mind him at this price tag here, especially considering he's at double-digit DraftKings points in each of the first 2 games.
All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up the video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. I really do appreciate that. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. Like I said, they got content coming out Monday through Sunday, not just for football either. They're tackling multiple different sports, so don't miss out on any of that. And for those of you who do want to sign up for PrizePicks, make sure you use code MMN NFL and play on that Monday night slate between the Cowboys and Eagles. You not only get a $100 match deposit, but you get that $25 bonus as well. But let's have a great weekend here, everyone. Hopefully you won some money on Sunday and keep that rolling into Monday as well. I'm out of here.